in the last 12 weeks there, we've actually quoted £4 million in the first quarter of the year, but we only won 700 grand.
Make sure the Jenny's working, mate, because there was one that wasn't started.
Just because where it was trying to get the materials dropped and the skips dropped, we had to get them right early in the morning.
That was a cost to the business of about 100 grand last year.
Welcome back to another behind the scenes video here at Taylor Roofs. In today's episode, we're going to go over some of the jobs that we've done recently, some of the vans that are leaving us, and stay to the end to see what cost Taylor Roofs £100,000. So this is one of the roofs that we ended up replacing here in Muriston. So this was a full roof replacement, and we started off by stripping the plasterboard. This part was probably the hardest part. So the reason why the plasterboard being stripped was really hard is because it came off in the smallest little pieces. And that made the job a lot more time consuming. So it took a little bit longer to strip, but we did eventually get there. Once this roof was boarded and felted, we then moved on to adding the bands. So we loaded this roof out with marley mended tiles, and then we started tiling from right to left, nailing each course as we go. So we finished this roof off by installing the ridges, vents and verges. And I think this roof looks fantastic, but don't just take my word for it, take a look for yourself. So we asked our team what the hardest thing to strip off a roof was, and this is what they said.
Plasterboard. Plasterboard. Plasterboard.
Plasterboard. So you're asking me a question here about how I found it stripping plasterboard off pitched roof when I was a roofer. But for the plasterboard itself is, especially if it's damp and wet, it is just literally like, it just comes in such tiny parts. Then it's falling into the attic space and you're having to get in there and get that all cleaned out as well. Really, really tough one, and I know we had a job recently with it, and I feel sorry for the guys on that one because, you know, when it's Celotex boards and they're maybe not too damp, it just comes up nice and easy. It's nice and light, you get it down, but when it's small squares like that, it's really testing.
And it goes all in the loft, so it time consumes everything and just makes your life 10 times harder. Makes it 10 times longer to try and bag it all, make no mess, because it always ends up in the loft. And then it just takes 10 times longer.
Phil's got something new here at Taylor Roofs, so let's go and ask him and find out what it is. So what's the new locking system that we've got?
I'm glad you asked me that. Let me show you. So it's an electronic swipe system. Everybody's employee details are stored on, and it's connected to Zero, the time software, and it basically records either from biometric, fingerprint or facial recognition who's clocked in to the company at what time they're clocked in.
Like, how do you find this? Do you think it's good effective?
There's no more latencies. Timekeeping's improved 100%. Before it was a problem because there's multiple entrances to the site itself, so you couldn't actually see everybody coming and going, so this one removes all benefit of doubt. It's totally black and white, and as I say, it's completely resolved the lateness issue that we were experiencing.
In the long run, where do you see the effects of this in the long run?
So going forward, obviously this was done for the timekeeping initially, but from a health and safety point of view, it can get used for who's on site, for you know, sort of fire risk and bits and pieces, and in turn it will get transferred over to the office team as well. So yeah, it's all good, and it can do you can export the report into Zero, so that's your timesheets as well, so you can do all your sort of wage calculations from it.
Let's go and see the big job we did in Glasgow.
Where is it we're going to now? So we're going to Paisley Road West in Glasgow, just around the corner from Ibrox. So this is a full roof replacement we've done on a tenement building. So we're going to see the finished article.
Is there anything that you need parts in?
Probably because it's right in the main street, so I had a lot of planning involved. It's also got 2 slated turrets in the front and also lead work to the copes as well.
Was there any issues? Yeah.
Just because where it was trying to get the materials dropped and the skips dropped, we had to get them right early in the morning so it wasn't as busy traffic. We'll see you in Glasgow. This is the job we just finished here in Glasgow. We stripped off all the old tiles and slates right back to the sarking. Next, we done some sarking repairs. Then to make the roof watertight, we lay a breathable membrane felt. Next, we installed the battens so the roof was ready for tiling. We then started to install the lead to the roof, which was lead copes, water gates and valleys. We then installed Spanish slates to the turrets and finished it off with zinc ridging. We then tiled the roof and finished it off with a dry ridge system and vents. Overall, this project's turned out great, and I'm happy to say I'm signing this one off for the last time.
So let's go and find out what's been going on with the vans.
So this year we're looking to lean things down a bit, just get offload some of the vehicles that might not be getting used, some of the ones that's maybe even a wee bit of nice to have. So what we've found is these drop sides, when we bought them 5-6 years ago probably, it was getting utilised very, very well at our old premises, and our yardsmen would use them, our flat roofers would use them, and probably they actually got used a wee bit like a skip sometimes, and then other times we were just picking materials up, dropping them off. But the way that we're operating now, they don't seem to get used as much. Something that was really quite frustrating as well was that staff don't want to take them home because they're quite long as well. So just because they're long wheelbased and sitting outside in people's streets or in people's driveways, they just really didn't like taking them home. So sometimes I found that we were actually having somebody drive one of these but leave it here, then take another van to go home. It was just kind of really no cost effective at all. So we're going to offload these. They're actually really good, to be honest. Good workhorses, but they're just not really fit for purpose anymore. So we're finding that they're sitting out here in the yard a lot of the time. So we're going to just get them tidied up a bit and maybe look to sell them on. So for the age that this van is, and actually the amount that we've used it, it's actually not too bad condition. It's looking pretty good. Obviously there's some primer on there, there's some bumps and scrapes, but generally speaking it's not in the worst. It's not in the worst condition. Some of them I've seen that are even newer can be in worse condition, and it's one of these it's a painful thing where as a business you want to have a strong brand, you want your vehicles all wrapped, the guys with the branded uniform, it's all really important stuff. But it's really painful when you get newer vehicles in and then you just see it with black marks on it or scrapes and scuffs. But it's literally the nature of the beast. We're in the roofing industry. Things are going to get damaged. Let's get a look at some of the other ones as well. All right, Sparky. All right, Darryl. So just as we were about to check the other vans out there, a couple of the guys just pulled up to put some stuff in the skip there. I'm actually looking at this one. This is probably one of the nicer vans, to be honest. Again, usually what we find is, and you'll see this on other vans as we look at it, this part is a common fault that the guys will open the door, open that to fuel up, and then usually hit it on the way back in, and it always tends to be missing. Side doors can be problematic. Just they're getting used day in, day out, stuff coming in and out of them. Back doors sometimes an issue, but to be honest, I'm looking at this is one of the better vans. Greyfriars Bobby on there, so some of the vans you'll see as we go around, we got different Scottish landmarks and stuff on them, but that one's getting probably the sign of approval. The boys have looked after that well, and Darryl and Sparky there's giving it, certainly keeping it clean and tidy, and that's what you're wanting. That's you, she's made the YouTube channel. So this one's the polar opposite for the one we just looked at. You know, you've had a bit of an issue here. Sometimes they get, like we've seen guys maybe reverse that into a wall, damages the back door, parts fall off, don't get fixed quick enough, so it just goes unseen. And then, do you know, we've got PDAs, a job management software, and the guys are responsible to go on there and fill in to say, right, there's a panel missing, there's brakes damaged, and they do a vehicle report every day. But sometimes just in a growing business like this, you just end up, these things can go amiss, and from time to time, cosmetically the vans just get let down a bit. So this is one of the ones I would say is a bit not as nice. It's got the Kelpies there, so we Falkirk landmark on the back of it. As I said, that was something we done with the back doors, but I think this one could be sort of one that we're going to need to offload off the fleet, to be honest. The things I was talking about in the last one that were nice, where the door was all right, and the thingy, this is what I was talking about. Do you know, that's what you end up. Do you know, that's what you end up with is the guys go to fuel this up, and I think what must happen is this flaps, and then they smack that, and for whatever reason, it's just so common on Ford vans like this that you see that it's all hanging off. But again, the guys have managed to get paint up the side. That looks like some lead silicone there. Fingerprints, but they're working vans, you know, the guys are out there grafting every day, so as painful as a business owner, I'm sure anybody watching the channel would be feeling that same way and feel it relatable, that you want your brand to be perfect, you want everything to look great, but it's a right hard job. It'd be interesting to see what you guys do to keep on top of your fleet. Anytime we're getting a new van into the business, you'll see some new ones coming in. I don't know if it'll be in this episode or future episodes, but we always, as standard, we'll get the van wrapped, we'll get a ladder on the back, we'll get a roof rack on the top, we'll get the shelving put in the back, and then we'll get the seat covers, and if it's not got alloys, we'll get the wheel trims and stuff like that. That's the sort of the standard. So they come looking really, really good and pristine. They go out and then they get put to work, and as you'll have seen, they take a few hits along the way. We have got our sort of power washing bay here, so we do get guys back. We've got a spare bit of time, they'll clean the vans up and things like that. But it's a hard part of business, and it sort of gets you asking that question: at what point do you have an actual fleet manager? I think we've got about 20 odd vehicles now. We're just cutting the fleet down a wee bit now. There's some surplus to requirements vehicles there, but yeah, it's one of these things. Whose job does that actually become? Do you know, the guys have got a responsibility filling their stuff in on their PDA that goes in. You've got the ops manager maybe keeping an eye on it, contracts manager as well, try to keep an eye on it. But it's one of these things that I think as a business owner, it can fall between the cracks, and it's painful if the stuff's left. But at the end of the day, what do you actually do? Because if somebody goes and hits the van, or somebody like they bash the van, a panel comes off, regardless, it's like you can't really charge the staff. You've then just got to go and get it fixed. It's then off the road. It's just painful part of running a business. It's actually having a fleet. It's almost like having a coach company or something like that, because you're actually running a fleet of vehicles as well as the construction side. It's a lot. It's a lot.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe.
So this is one of obviously our nicer vehicles. This one's only a year old, but we're actually going to offload this year. It's probably just a wee bit too much of a nice to have at this point. We've got another Ranger in the fleet as well, but I think we're going to offload those, get them replaced with vans, and yeah, it's just for us this year, market's been a wee bit tighter. We'll try to tighten things up, be a wee bit more robust with our systems and processes. So we're offloading this, we're bringing a new van in, and yeah, we're going right throughout the fleet and seeing what's making us money, what's cost effective, what's not, what's costing too much to repair as well, and then yeah, just literally leaning it up, as I said. I think even in the year that we've had this one, I think it's been in and out of the garage like 4 times. So it's just, I guess you're going to get that across the board with vehicles, but it's really painful as a business when you're buying something new. You're thinking that'll be the way to do it. Do you know, we've done it multiple ways. We've bought the vans outright. We've bought the vans on, say, HP, and then just let them run down at the end. We've leased vans in the past, and we've went new, we've went used, and there doesn't seem to be an answer to it. There's no right or wrong, I don't think, but you could buy something new, problematic from the get-go, and it's off the road a lot, or you could get something used, same thing, or it could just be your luck. I just think it is literally a lottery. What we're going for next is we're trying out a Maxis. We've heard mixed reviews on it. We're going to give it a go and see what it's all about. They're coming in at a much more cost-effective price range, so we can only give it a go and see. I think it is a bit of a lottery with a lot of these things, but I don't know what other people's doing out there. But what we found was if you're buying HP, it's your van at the end, but then you run it to sort of the end of its life. So a couple of the ones that we maybe showed you, like we've paid them off their hours now, but they're sat there, they're not holding much value. The problem with the leasing side is, imagine getting to the end of the lease and then you have to give it back, and it's got sort of more hits than the Beatles all over it. You know, doors hanging off, pedal caps hanging off, scrapes all over it. So you just get hit on that side. So to me, I think the best thing I've probably done is getting a low mileage, well looked after used van on HP, so you can, you put maybe the VAT down as a deposit, pay it up on decent monthly payments over maybe 4 years. The van's a couple of years old, so you don't care too much about it getting a wee scrape or a bump on it as much as you do when it's brand new. And then you run it to the end of its life and you just keep it, and then at the end of it you sell it off for a bit. I think there's one away today, just getting sold for a few grand that we've had for probably 6 years or something like that. The finance is paid off, the van's done its thing, 140,000 miles, but it's just at the end of its tether now. It's costing too much to repair, so that's just getting cashed in for a few grand, and that's it. It's the end of its life. So again, this is one of the common faults that we're finding. The petrol cap scenario here, we see that on quite a lot of the vans, so it must be a known fault to Ford. Really frustrating when you can see a van's actually looking pretty good and that's missing off. But for this one, don't get me wrong, when we bought this was brand new. It's probably 6 years old now, but it's got paint all over it, it's got the usual bashes, it's got a wee bit of primer there. It's hard, but it's 6 years old as well, so you know, you've got to just sometimes take the good with the bad, I guess. You know, they really make their money, these vans, when they're out there on the road every day and they've got a couple of guys in them, 2-3 guys in them, up on roofs making the money in. So it's just the nature of the business that we're in. This has had a paint issue, that paint got spilled out over the back of it. But again, the standard here: roof ladder on the back, roof rack on the top, shelving inside, seat covers, all the rest of it. This one had alloys as well, so it was actually one of the nicer vans that we had bought, but it recently got T-boned by someone, and I actually think this one, because of the damage that's underneath there, the axis or something's been hit. I think they're looking at maybe writing this one off, so it's another one leaving the fleet. So there's going to be probably 4 or 5 vehicles offloading, a couple of new ones coming in, and just getting that fleet refreshed again. Hopefully we're not going to have continual repair bills. Once these ones go, we'll cash in a bit, put a line in the sand, and then, you know, hopefully we'll get lucky over the next couple of years with some of the vans, because we've had some luck with ones and then bad luck with others. But yeah, again, this is another one that's leaving the fleet. So this is another one here that's got this petrol cap issue. Again, it just really ruins the look of the van. But on this, you know, paint marks, more hits than the Beatles again. It's hard. I think there is some of the brand new ones that we'll be able to show you, so what it should look like. But again, just trying to keep that fleet up to like all looking great all the time. It's almost like an impossible task. You know, 20 odd vans there. I think probably 3-4 of them are new. And then from that, it's like a couple of years old, 3 years old, and then some of these ones I'm showing you are like 5-6 years old. They're quite bad. So usual thing again here: ladder on the back, roof rack on the top, shelving on the back of it. And then with this one, this was one of the other ones that we got done with the Scottish landmarks. So this is actually the Wallace Monument there. Freedom!
There's a lot of things that cost Taylor Roofs money. But what last year was it that cost us £100,000? Well, let's go and ask Jamie to find out.
So we report, track and measure absolutely everything in the business. What inquiries have come into the business week to week, how many of them turned into a survey, how many of those surveys then converted into a sale, the total volume of quotes that were sent versus what was accepted. So looking at the system, in the last 12 weeks there, we've actually quoted £4 million in the first quarter of the year, but we only won 700 grand. So it is telling us that the market is a wee bit down compared to normal. So I think that's about 17.5% conversion rate. We usually would like to be about 25%, 30%. So we should be up over £1 million sales brought into the business in the first quarter, which is massively down. So we are finding that the market's really quite quiet out there. People aren't spending the way they normally spend, even though that has been a running theme the last few years. But it seems to be worse at the moment. There's probably a few things at play. You know, cost of living crisis is really crippling everyone at the moment. So that's probably why we've been trying to look at things and see how we can tighten things up a wee bit. Obviously, I showed you earlier, we're offloading some of the fleet and different things. We're tightening up in some areas, maybe getting rid of some of the nice-to-haves and just try to really lean things down. But when we look at the numbers as well, small things add up to big numbers. So, for example, absence. That was a cost to the business of about 100 grand last year. So when you actually tally it up, where these people, what they would have went and made if they were in work that day, so that's a real big one for us. It's a number we try and get down. We've actually put a compliance bonus in place, which is if you're there all week, you fill in your PDA, you wear your PPE and you're compliant with everything, then the staff gets a £40 bonus each week. It's one of these things, is, you know, it rewards staff who who comply to everything and they're here at the work all the time, which is great, but it's to try and stop that sort of that 100 grand pitfall as well. But again, as I said with the vans gets bashed and marked and materials all over them, because that's the industry that we're in, it's roofing. It's a tough environment. They're using materials in and out of vans. They're working hard out there, so it can happen. So the same thing as for the absence. You know, you're out in the cold weather all the time. You're maybe wet. Then it's like the other day there, we seen 4 seasons in one day. So it was literally, it was snowing at one point, and then an hour later it was sun splitting the trees, and it was warm, it was crazy, and then it was raining, then it was hail, and then it was snowing again, and then it was sun again. So you know, you're out in those elements, you're working up on roofs. It's you might get soaked through the skin, then you dry off, then you're soaked through again. So yeah, but I think in general the construction industry, roofing industry, it's got a really bad absence rate. So whether that's outside working or what, I'm not 100% sure. But it's things that you look at the business and you think, for us, you know, into the multi-millions of revenue, it's harder and harder to keep that revenue in there so that you can reinvest back into the business and that you can improve things, and you can, you know, you'd much rather be giving your staff pay rises than going and trying to fix vans and fix panels that's been bashed and all the rest of it. And you look at the costs that's in there and you think, if everybody was there all the time, that would be an extra 100 grand, but it's impossible. You know, you try to put things in place, you try to get it a wee bit better. I don't know what it would be like if we didn't have that compliance bonus, but yeah, it's we track and measure everything, but absence is one of the big costs. How we track actually on site is we've got PDAs, so the guys will do their updates. It shows what the job started like before, and then what the job's like, what they've done for that day and after. They can take photos of their work. We've also got contract supervisors, contract managers that go out to site and just quality assure things, really, just sign off. Check in that the PPE's been worn and that the work's been done to the tailor-made way, really.
If you guys have stayed to the end of this video, then leave a like and let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.